Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. Thanks for coming back, and today, Ubisoft finally gives up on the 7th gen. So this is pretty cool. In the last couple of days, Ubisoft has come out publicly to state that they are no longer going to be supporting the 7th generation going forward, which of course means the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. The Wii really wasn't included in that conversation because they kind of stopped work production on the Wii. There really wasn't a lot going on for the system. Around 2011, actually, was pretty much when the system itself was dead, and it wasn't until the following year that Nintendo even released the Wii U. So when you talk about the 7th gen and how it's still being supported today, the Wii really isn't included in that conversation. It's just the PS3 and the 360 typically. Although it's worthy of note that when it comes to Ubisoft, the only game that they had been consistently supporting the previous generation was Just Dance, which was still releasing on the Wii, as strange as that may sound. So they've had Just Dance. It's been releasing on the 360, PS3, and the Wii. Now, they have also been making like Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cell. These games all released on the PlayStation 3 and 360, along with the new generation consoles, the PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Wii U. So all of a sudden, here now they come out and they mention that they no longer want to work with the 7th generation going forward. I happen to think that is remarkably fantastic news. Now, of course, it should be noted that I really don't like Ubisoft right now. They're definitely at the top of my shit list, as I've mentioned a couple times. You probably know that. They've had a lot of issues with the way they've been releasing their games and just their business model and structure, the way that they're conducting business and developing games, and of course, their notorious negative comments towards Nintendo and why they chose not to support Nintendo with any more quality titles going forward, or so they said. So it's not like this makes me happy because I love Ubisoft. I do have to say that there's so many properties that Ubisoft has that I do really like, so I've always been very conflicted when it comes to not being happy with Ubisoft. I think they're actually pretty damn great game developers. I really like Watch Dogs. I did pick that up on the Wii U. I think that's a great game. I'm not an Assassin's Creed guy. I really have never liked that series, but boy, have I tried. So don't think that that's coming from, someone who just has decided I don't care. I have tried and purchased 4 of those games, and I didn't like them. So I don't really like Assassin's Creed. Rayman, one of my all-time favorite characters, and Rayman Legends to me is my favorite platformer I've ever played. The Division I actually think looks great. Happy to pick that up. I'm very excited to play that. So, there's a lot that Ubisoft does that I love. Of course, I haven't been happy with them. But, in redirecting the focus here, the reason that this makes me happy is because we need more developers and more insiders within the industry to start saying no more 7th generation. At this point, there's 40 million, consoles sold between the 3 8th generation consoles. And what the high-end PCs can put out so trounces what the PS3 and 360 are capable of that it is ridiculous to continue supporting those previous systems, as great as they were. They are amazing systems, but their time is done. It is time to have moved on completely. When Ubisoft came out, and it might have been Yves Guillemot, who was actually the fellow for Ubisoft who came out and made this public statement. I don't know that for sure, but I would imagine it might have been him. When they came out and made the statement, it reminded me of when we first heard that Batman Arkham Knight was not going to be releasing on the 7th gen systems, and that was great news then too. I was like, good. We need these developers to start focusing on the new generation. That's all that we should be doing in gaming right now. Not to slight those systems or the owners of those systems, like I said, but at some point, a generation goes away. That's the very purpose and the nature of generation and improving technology. That's the way these things go. Not to mention the other huge aspect, which is that when developers are supporting the previous generation alongside the current generation with a title such as Watch Dogs or Assassin's Creed, they very much end up hindering the experience, hindering the full capabilities of the current generation consoles and what games are like on those consoles. So when you're making Assassin's Creed 5, and it's coming out for, the PS3, 360, and the PS4 and Xbox One, and hopefully maybe the Wii U, then it's like, well, those 8th gen versions are going to be held back because they have to make sure that the game is going to be able to operate within the same basic engine and visual structure as the previous generation. So they're basically taking a previous generation build and just, improving it a little bit with minor tweaks to make it look better on the 8th gen, but that's not the same as building a game for an 8th gen console on the way up. That's on the ground up, sorry. That is the way that is meant to be. That is the way the best games release. That is why Arkham Knight is going to be and look amazing. It's why Mario Kart looks fantastic on the Wii U. It's why Bayonetta looked so great. It's why Destiny looks so well. Actually, I can't say that. Sorry. Destiny is a rare case where actually it did work on the previous generation. That's kind of a mistake on my part. And I bring Destiny up because I actually think that Destiny right now is the best looking game that I've seen on the 8th gen. And so kind of funny how that works with the last gen. But anyway, the point, my point still stands. I promise you that ultimately a game built for the ground up, from the ground up for a specific generation is going to be the best it can be. It's going to, most exemplify what that generation and the power of those current systems are capable of, why you have those systems in the first place, and why you step away from that previous generation into that current generation. So I just think that it's weird that so many companies still talk about and are trying to support those last systems. I get that their install bases are massive, but it's ridiculous. I mean, I think that what happened is apparently Ubisoft had recently said that they still planned on supporting 7th generation for a while. But, I feel like they've finally started to get it through their skulls that, hey, there's so many 8th gen systems sold, and we've seen so much success with some of our previous titles we've released across the board that we don't really need to support those old systems. Less and less people are playing those systems. More and more people are picking up the new ones. There's no reason to do so, and this is progress. This is the way to take the 8th gen and move it into its full maturity. We need to do this. More companies need to do this. We don't need the Maddens and the WWEs and all these other games, the Call of Duties to keep showing up on the 7th generation. That is done. So Ubisoft, as much as, they piss me off sometimes, I still like the company as far as their development skills, and I love the fact that they, one of the biggest developers in the industry, came out and finally publicly stated that we will not be supporting 7th gen. We're only going to support 8th gen and PC going forward. That's going to be huge. I feel like we will see a lot more people follow suit within the next year. By the time next E3 comes around, I bet we'll see almost no titles that are going to also be supporting the 7th generation, and that's going to be a really good thing. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in again, guys. Of course, if you're new to Rule of 2 Review, please feel free to subscribe, rate, and comment. Share your thoughts about Ubisoft and the 8th generation below. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll catch you guys next time on another video for Rule of 2 Review.